We will get rolling here. Thank you, first of all, everybody. Thanks for coming. On behalf of Superintendent Fenton, who's away for a couple of weeks, and the chair, James Thomas, who also couldn't be here today, they send regrets, but we're going to carry on anyways. A little bit leaner turnout. I don't know if that's the cold temperature or not, but it's been a couple of months since I've been here too for some various personal reasons. So glad to be back, and we'll rock and roll. So, Adam, turn it over to you.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. Constable Adam LeBlanc. I'm the crime analyst here at 42 Division, and I'm just going to go through my monthly presentation of some of the crime stats. As always, we'll start with our community map here, which breaks down the community 42 Division into different Cplc representation map, and still always looking for more people. So if you have good friends, please encourage Cplc. This first map, this is a map of the collisions that occurred in the division this month or in January. The different colors denote the different types of collisions. This map is shown, this is a monthly map. This map is shown once a week at our crime management meetings in our superiors area. Sorry. Oh, sorry. So, thank God I don't have anything else to do. Yes. So this map shows the collisions that happen in a month. We use a similar map that just shows the weekly collisions every week at our crime management meeting, and that's how we decide what our traffic priorities will be in the upcoming weeks. Winter has been pretty harsh this year so far, so January we do have a little bit above average collisions right now. You can see the certain major intersections which are being affected the most by that.
If I can, as Adam indicated, this is through intelligence and the stats that Adam collects on a weekly basis. The next map that we may talk about is targeted enforcement. Ultimately, what we end up doing here is based on the information that Adam provides to us. We then let our officers at 43 know if you have time, because the radio keeps them very busy. If you have time, these are the areas that we'd like you to conduct some proactive enforcement. As you can see by the black X's and the hash marks, similar to where the highlighted areas are, we are conducting enforcements where these accidents are taking place. The reason I bring that up is frequently, especially at this meeting, but also through our community response unit telephone line, we get a lot of complaints, and there's information brought forward regarding different intersections, stop signs. A lot of these fall within residential areas, and the reason I bring that up is, for example, we've had repeatedly in recent Cplc meetings an area up at McCowan and Ellesmere regarding the plaza, the commercial plaza up there. It's a prohibited term. Constable Papadopoulos, who's not here right now, y'all know him as Pappy. He's conducted enforcement up there on 3 different occasions in the last 3 weeks, and he's had zero tickets issued based on what we were led to believe was the community concern regarding people not obeying that prohibited term. So it's an example of the information brought forward to us. It might be a little bit more individual as far as the concern than what you can see as our historically problematic areas. In this new world of we have to do less with, or more with less, in our reduction in resources, we really do have to focus on intelligence-led policing, and that includes traffic enforcement. So where we deploy our people, as you can see, is where the issues, where the problems are in the repeated accidents. Okay? Thanks, Ed.
Now moving on, so this was our second map I put up there when the staff was talking, and this will start with some of the crime maps. So we have this map right here. This shows the break and enters that occurred for the month. For those of you who come a lot, you'll recognize there was a lot more loss that we introduced in January. We did have a fairly significant amount of entries. This isn't something that was just 43 Division. This happened across Scarborough. Our neighboring divisions, 41, 42, and even Durham Region, saw a large increase. One of the reasons for the large increase is a lot of times when we get increases, we'll have an increase in residential entries, but commercials will be under or average, or then we'll get an increase in commercial regional, so both go up at the same time. And that's what's happened in January, is both have went up at the same time, causing a significant increase. But our division, as well as our neighboring divisions, have all started special initiatives in the past 2 weeks to try and address these issues. And I am happy to say in the 42 Division in the past 8 days, we have seen quite a decrease, so we're hoping that continues.
Yeah, in the beginning of the year, we were very concerned with the spike in both residential and commercial break and enters. So much so that, just like Adam referred to, we initiated a project here, an initiative called Project Rusty, and it is to combat the break and enters overnight as well as during the day in residential areas. One of the things that I can say, we've redeployed some officers out there, so we have officers out in plain clothes as well as uniform, trying to prevent the crimes from happening. But you can take back to your community members and your neighbors, please report something if you see something that's suspicious. If it doesn't fit, the vehicle doesn't fit the neighborhood, or somebody coming down a driveway that you know doesn't belong in the neighborhood, you need to phone 911. You need to pass that along as information. Please phone 911 to let us know. Okay?
Just if I can touch on that, we just had a break-in there as recent as early January of this year. There was a neighbor across the street. He looked out and he walks his dog every day back and forth, and he saw his neighbor who he knew to be away. He saw the gate open, and when he had been out earlier that morning, he didn't notice the gate. He in turn called us, and we eventually effected the arrest yesterday. Found out who the person was that was in there, but that was all from just a neighbor calling in. So what we are speaking about, it does work when you do call us, just those little things that someone just doesn't seem right, and we can come and investigate it. Okay?
Great. Next map, robberies. This map is a much better looking map than the last one. So far this year, we have had good success in our robberies. Our robberies are reduced by quite a bit. So we're pretty happy with this. This is a pretty low level of robberies for what we usually see here. And our last crime map would be theft of autos. We historically don't have a lot of theft of autos, but the past 2 years, our theft of autos have been up a little bit. If you were here last month, I reminded you, and I'll remind you again, about leaving your cars warm up. It's been a particularly cold winter, so we're seeing a lot of that. And just this weekend, we had that person go out, start their car up, warm it up for work. They went inside, and when they were inside, they had the pleasure of watching their car drive away. So this stuff does still go on. If you're going to warm your cars up, hopefully you get yourself a remote starter, because the car can't be driven away that way. So use caution people for doing that.
Yeah, the bad guys appreciate you warming their car up for them too.
And now moving on to our 7 major crime indicators. When we're looking at this, I'll remind you we're only in February. So in the next couple months, February, March, April, we're dealing with smaller numbers. Smaller numbers relate to making the percentages look bigger. So for now, it is a little bit more values to look at the difference in numbers. And we are looking pretty good mostly everywhere, like I said, except for break-in enters and auto thefts. But even at auto thefts, we're still only at 20, which isn't that much. We're almost comparable to 2016 there, which is up quite a bit from last year. And our robberies, like I said, were down significantly. And then our break-in enters, we've been getting those down quite a bit in the past 8 days. And in total, we're down 1%. And just for my little tip, I'll put this up here. I'm sure you all can't read this, but it is tax season. We're going to be all filing taxes pretty soon. And as you know, this fraud has been going on now for about 3 or 4 years, and it isn't going away with people calling you up and saying they're from Revenue Canada and trying to get you to pay your taxes with gift cards. If you go to the Revenue Canada website this year, they have, this is just one example, but some of these are very common, and they replay them. So they have a bunch of the actual what you'll hear on your voice recording and what people will say to you. So you go on there, there's about 5 different examples, and they'll tell you what's going to be said when you call. So if you go on there and read them and someone calls you up and you hear that, you'll know that it's someone trying to defraud you. That's it.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Julie and Paul now.
Holy smokes, that was
As far
quick.
as our crime prevention.
Oh, thanks, Aaron.
Just further to the CRA scam, I did see something on Facebook today that people are now getting CRA letters as well. So, when you get your notice of assessment, that thing that comes back after you file your, and it's a very specific type of text, and it's very familiar looking to the CRA. So it looks with that same text format, and it says, the CRA is looking to verify your information. Please enter your SIN number here, and then it goes down, please enter your date of birth here. So, and send it back to an address. So definitely don't do that, please.
My first time with a laser pointer, and
You have this too.
I need to walk everywhere I go. Like that. Like I told Mr. Bowie, need to do stuff. As Adam said, there's been a number of residential break-in enters, and as I've said, it can be very traumatic experience for many people. It's a huge invasion of privacy. And it takes a lot of people to understand it's still a long time to get over someone going through their address report and such. So we obviously want to prevent them as much as possible. Julie and I had the opportunity to drive around in the affected streets over the last couple of weeks, and that parts in particular stuck out to us. And before we get started, that's not going to be everybody's book, and that's worth mentioning. I just wanted to talk on a couple of points about it, why we would not expect that place to be broken into. Some things they've done well, and some things, as I say, that's not everybody's taste. But just start with the territorial reinforcement, which is right there. And not everyone wants a large fence on the front, but that's saying that's where the border is and don't cross. And it could be something that's half that high, it could be close with chains, it could be low shrubs, but something that's making a border that you don't want folks into. Next thing they've done well is we've got natural surveillance. So that in the back here, that's actually another house, that's another backyard. So they produce such good natural surveillance that you're actually seeing through that fence and then another one. And so they've got, you can't see it from here, but there's surveillance coming this way and this way with people going by. And what we'd often see, if you see that little wooden gate there, we'd often see that across. So someone can get through and they have all day to work. That's making someone feel very uncomfortable going there. The next thing they've done, and this is where this isn't everyone's taste, and that's these rates here. And they're all the way around. I'm actually surprised that I won't say I'm surprised, but those would not be the windows that we would expect someone to try to come in through. So if you look at that height, you can't really get a perspective compared to that door, unless it's one of the Toronto Raptors. That's probably not somebody coming in through those. Those are high. We'd expect back in there, but they've done the same thing at the back or the front door. That's typically where we would expect someone to come in, because criminals don't like glass in most cases. Julie often talks about DNA being left now and that being collected. So where we'd expect most people to come in is the front door, but probably not this house. As I say, a lot of this can be scaled back. There's one picture. You don't mind setting it around. I prefer this to look much better if you don't mind setting it around. It does exactly the same thing. It's in the window, but it doesn't look like a jail. But it's exactly the same thing. There's many, many places on that. Did you want to talk a little bit about the door?
Yeah. So obviously everything that Paul pointed out here, it's a big financial investment with everything that they've done here. And as Adam and Ella spoke about, a lot of the entries, or most of them that we saw, were back to our strike plate. That's what, a $15 item, Paul? So it's relatively easy when we're watching these security videos to see how quickly some of these gentlemen can put their shoulder through the door and break that strike plate. So again, if that may be a little bit under your budget or not your style or your taste, for $10, you can certainly improve the strike plate on your front door and at least make it that much harder.
My guess on that, just very quickly, having driven around that a number of times, and fresh snow, that's probably somebody that might be a snowbird that is wants their house being secured, because we never saw tire marks in that driveway. They have done something well. If you look carefully, somebody's coming along and keeping the snow in the driveway.
I would mention also the fact that the way that they have things on the front lawn, they're away from all of the windows also. So anyone that would be possibly hiding would not have anywhere at all there. So.
And it's well done now. We'll have to see in a couple of years if they keep those down. Yeah. I would say, just before you answer the question, anyone that's in 43 Division and then Toronto Police anywhere across the city, we will come and do those. And I hate to use the word audit because there's nothing binding. We're happy for any business or homeowner to come and have a look. Make a number of suggestions based upon our training, and then you can take what you like and leave what you don't. And please pass them on to everyone. Yes, ma'am.
My home got broken into a few years ago, and I recommended putting this sign on required of the city, but they would never come in a home that has that. So I ordered one online, and it helps. That was a good idea, a good advice they gave.
Yeah, there's different plays on that. They talked about putting a dog dish out with some water in it, preferably a big dish so it looks bigger. Statistically, as far as dogs, there's less break-in enters with the smaller dogs than the big ones. And I guess much like people, the larger ones tend to be a little easier going, and not so much to say the smaller ones are What's to say, Mark?
Can I ask you a question? Your front door has glass in it, and I was thinking about putting glass on the front door as well. I was worried that they were less safe. Glass. Any info on that?
Yeah, as I'm going to pull you here, in general terms, we don't see a lot of broken glass. Not to say it never happens, but most folks don't want to break that glass. They would just like to take the door in. The other thing, and I don't know if it's made its way around or not, but there's many devices that can be put over that, and it doesn't have to look like a prison. It'll keep someone out.
The bar is unique inside.
Yeah, but
Yeah, the basement.
as a decorative grade versus that
You
one's
see, Dave,
quite
most people have like their regular steel door, their entry door, and then the glass door that's in front, so there's actually two.
Oh, I see. That's what
Yeah.
that is. No, I wanted my, like, the glass in my steel door versus the screen door.
Oh, like an insert,
Yes.
yeah, Adam or Ella, have you ever seen somebody break the insert inside a steel door? No.
Typically what gives is the door jamb, right, which is what Julie Paul refers to, the extra kick plate, strengthens it. I think just as important as the style of the door is something that Paul had touched on, the clear sight line, not having shrubbery, as James talked about, really high shrubbery next to your door, things like that. If it's an access door to the residence that's off of the driveway in the back of the house, you definitely want a stronger door.
And on a positive note, if there's ever concern about alien invasion, the show here is going to be the first to know. I'm not sure what he's breaking into. Yes, sir.
For minimal cost, you can get the anti-break-in.
Glass?
Yeah, there's a layer that goes in between the glass. I mean, this is what we have put in ours.
Yeah.
And also when you have the side glass in the door, you get the steel frame put in at the same time. And when you get a deadbolt, you get the extra long bolt.
Yeah.
Which means they have the pretty well just taken the whole front of the building.
There's all kinds of good things.
So I know that it's at a minimal cost, but what you really get when you want something that's
Absolutely.
good. That's the reason.
Absolutely, we are not allowed to recommend particular product, but I can base it upon statistics and other officers' experience. If there was one thing, just for the money spent, would be that strike plane. I can't think of anything else for $10 that would reduce by 80%. Someone come up with it, I'd be more than happy to hear it, but I can't come up with something for that. Now, in addition to that, there's all kinds of things. You mentioned window film is excellent. 3M's the only one I'm aware of that makes it. But it's fantastic. It those that don't know, it's a clear or tinted film. And if you put on the glass, or if you want to get really serious, they'll actually lift the window frame and put it in underneath. And then when that is struck, the glass will actually break, but it will hold it in place. And you can hit it for many, many times. And stop someone coming in.
Depending upon who the manufacturer is, you can have it installed between the layers of glass.
Yeah.
So that you don't see it. It actually makes it thicker, but it doesn't distort the prisms from the colored glass that you got.
The only weakness to it is you're going to get your window hit before they realize.
Because I know when we purchased ours, we asked them about that, and the guy had a sledgehammer, and he took it to it. Started with a broken handle.
Absolutely, we were allowed to take use a baseball bat, and the same idea.
Guy who replaced in the door, two doors. I asked him that same question. But answer, yeah, I have a special setup where if I want to do it, where I can see. And he says, Mike, I'll give you this camera. If you break it, you'll pay for it.
And then I used that there before, yeah.
And if you break it, you don't pay.
Yeah, because it's nice to have the glass in the light, but I would worry someone's going to use that as the way.
But you'll see that, we'll finish up in the interest of time, but as you see that book goes around, you'll see there's many, many designs and from many manufacturers, but just to let me know that they're out there. And they say it doesn't have to look exactly like that, but touches of that. And we wouldn't expect it right now.
Just Paul, I actually have my basement windows, I have like 20 of them down there, I don't a lot of windows. I had it retrofitted, I didn't have any windows. They can actually put in bars in between the windows, so it looks the same way, that I don't have to get new windows.
In that book is a great.
Oh, is it in there too?
That particular company and those that are serious about safety will always have an egress for those bars over the so you can get it in the basement. And we don't obviously want to be very careful about starting to pull windows down. But you'll see any of the ones that are done properly, and I would expect those ones in the upstairs as well have a pin that pops out.
Well, there's a bit of regulation on that too. For fires,
Yes.
gotta be able to get us access. So those bars are just up there.
Right.
That they're up there and then they demonstrate how we.
Yes. Yeah, hinge or hinge.
I'll take the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Julie. Thanks for Typically, our community engagement officer, Randy Arsenal, would make a presentation today, sometimes just short videos. He's tied up in a meeting down at headquarters presently. He did say that Angela here today? Angela Brackett, she might have a few words. Angela is one of our community partners up on the Mornell Court, been very active in a lot of proactive stuff up in that area. And Randy said that you might have just a few words that relay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Randall Arsenault, and I'm going to be bringing you the message today. So, we put out a video regarding break and entry, and since this morning, 41,000 people were able to view it. It's talking about what to do if someone comes to your front door. We also have 3 students that have signed up for the Music Not Mischief this year, and it's doing great, and a lot of school has been involved. And Angela, please do what I tell you to do and don't make a fool of yourself. So this was the message. Also, we have some students visiting us from Centennial College, UFT, and Seneca. They're doing their placement with us in Mornell Court.
Welcome to those students. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, I know one of the things that Randy had passed along, and it was hoping that Andy would speak on his behalf, but we're going to try to do a little bit more of that as we move forward using social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, the different Instagram accounts, things like that. Randy, Julie, and Paul are all very active on social media. We're going to start utilizing it. We already have, but try to utilize it a bit more for our crime prevention tips, making the community of 43 Division aware of some of the crime trends that are taking place. So that's something that we're going to continue to focus on in 2018. Thank you, Angela. Okay, it's at this point where we usually address any community concerns. I just want to touch base on a couple. I know I spoke to previously while Adam was giving his presentation. I know that James, you repeatedly brought in your concerns regarding the plaza at McCollin and Ellesmere. Pappy, who's unfortunately not able to attend today, he may show up late, I don't know. I just want to let you know on 3 different occasions, the 11th, 22nd, 26th, and actually 4 occasions in early February, he was up there doing some enforcement. And probably because the car is visible, but he actually had 0 infraction in regard to prohibited time. So we made some progress, I hope, right? It's something that we'll continue to monitor. I don't have anything left over from any traffic concerns regarding the last Cplc meeting that we had. I will say that, again, our effort is going to be continuing to focus on where the intelligence leads us to do enforcement and try to prevent some of these collisions and the personal injury accidents that are taking place. We will still, and Anne is very involved in it, take your community concerns over the phone here at the meetings and that. Typically, we do have the opportunity to put a speed board in some of the residential neighborhoods to monitor the speeds that are taking place by the drivers in the area, as well as any complaints that you have regarding school zones, stop signs, things like that. But I have to tell you, based on our resources and the reduced budget, we are going to be looking at the intelligence-led, and the enforcement in those areas is going to be reduced. It just is. Okay? I appreciate that. With that said, I'll now open up the floor to any community concerns this time around. Feel free, don't hesitate. This is a great opportunity to let us know things you might be concerned about in your neighborhoods. It's not strictly traffic.
I had a couple. TBC is again doing it. TBC is doing it again. You know that Lawrence, that curve that goes kind of north, into Star Spray, at the end of Lawrence.
So turn around, the bus turn around?
So there's, at the terminal point, there's a really good, there's a curve that allows buses to park if they are a little bit, if they're waiting or what have you. But they're not using that, so they're right on Lawrence just before Star Spray. And sometimes, earlier it used to be one bus, and sometimes now, I've noticed a few occasions, several occasions actually, when I go to the gym, 6:30 in the morning, and that's rush hour when people are actually going to work, 3 buses back to back. So it's very unsafe. So when someone is, going in the direction of the bus, you have to wait kind of behind the guy, and and it's pretty unsafe. And now with the snow, they've got less clearance. So I don't know if you can ticket buses, but the point is really the Star Spray loop. They're supposed to park there. And this was brought up a couple of years ago, I think, and they said customer service that, and I've also complained to customer service, they immediately do a check and they talk to the driver. But it's almost like a recurring sickness over there on that street.
Okay, so you had dealt with TTC regarding?
I spoke to customer service and they said, yeah, bring it to our notice. But it's like, I don't know, it's like little kids, they keep wanting, I don't know, so someone.
It's a problem that rears its head once. Yeah, I know that a lot of times the buses will pull over if they're ahead of schedule. They want to keep their schedule so that they're not. But what you're telling me is it might even be breaks or something.
Yeah,
you can maybe have Paul reach out to the TTC just to make them aware of it, that you're concerned. They're getting into the ticketing sort of thing. If they're looking, like I say, to keep their schedule, I don't know if I want my officer to jam in TTC.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're creating a hazardous situation, I think just a quick phone call will probably.
Yeah, and the space, after Star Spray, there's a whole lot of space on Lawrence and even at the Loop Park.
Right.
And they can just have the sign saying out of service or not yet ready. And so people don't have to open the door or anything. And then the other thing is I brought this up to Paul a couple of months ago. This call, the scam call that says I'm a US federal agent and, and a couple of days ago I got 3 back to back. And twice there was an 800 number, 6743272. And then of course the second time the 800 number changed. And then the third time there was a 613 number. So I don't know if you guys can do a decoy and catch them red-handed or I don't know.
Honestly, in that, it's more of an awareness, right? We have to make, and I appreciate you bringing that forward, is making your fellow community members aware of those potential scams, which I think Paul and Julie do on a regular basis as well, but appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
The issue we do have with those, and I think we discussed at the time, oh, go ahead, Julie. No, I keep the burner phone thing. I'm just repeating what you tell me anyway, so when you, issue we have with those is the device called a burner phone. So if we don't get them at the time, even if we phone back immediately, it won't go back to that. That phone is disposed of the next day. So they're incredibly difficult to prosecute. And as the staff had said, the best thing we could ask is obviously keep us aware so we can spread the message out, and obviously avoidance being best. But that's it.
Yep. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Is there anybody else that has anything? Angela?
So I don't know if this is police related or not. Before I came here, I got a message from my bank, and I don't know how that happened. I'm always like having my card on me, and somebody tried to break in my account, and they had to close it down. And I'm just wondering, how could someone try to get into my account and they don't have my card, and I'm really careful in how I use it or where I use it?
Julie, I'll let you handle that.
That happens quite frequently with skimming. So the fraud department tells us one of the most common places it happens is actually when you pay for gas at the pump. So you'll see those little like hologram symbols they put over. The companies try, and the bank machines as well, try and do their best to double check these things and make them fraud proof. But what they do is essentially install another device over top of the thing that's supposed to read your card. So when you put your card in, it's reading through 2 devices. And there's a camera somewhere that watches you do your PIN, and they just make a generic copy of your card. Or with your credit card information, again, sometimes that is used without even having your PIN number taken. It's just a skim of making a direct copy of your card. So it happens, and it's quite common.
There could be some POS terminals out there at different services that are, have those devices inputted within, or the suspect has gone in and scanned it out. It could be that, or, obviously you have to monitor and be aware of your banking. Each individual, that's the ownership of their own, that's your own financial portfolio. So I would be aware of your own banking activities that happen on a daily basis. The bank will, obviously they notify you, they'll correct that. There are ways that they'll have that information, and also just to protect yourself and your financial investments, just, contact Equifax and try to do you.
And that's how they traveling to the United States. I know it's very annoying. Most credit card companies will have you call ahead of time to say you're traveling, or they won't allow those transactions to happen. I know my husband's card was used in Montreal maybe 6 months ago. We weren't in Montreal. The bank called, said, "Are you in Montreal getting gas?" No, we're not. So they do monitor that stuff, and it happens, but yeah, they do their best.
Yeah, I had that happen in September as well. We actually got into the bank, they actually transferred. And the bank did catch it, but they actually did it from there were some virus I picked up somewhere, and I sort of saw my computer flickering. I'm very careful, I work in IT, and I saw it flickering, and it didn't dawn on me. Right? As soon as the bank called, I ran the scans and I found it. So it could be from there, but it just could be as simple as clicking on that email saying you have a UPS delivery company. You know what, like something that's sort of right there. So scan your computer too, find your phone, anywhere you would actually use that card.
And we use it right away, and if there's a URL, we even click on it. Because once you click, then it is sent to you.
Anybody else with a question?
Or concern? I would say one last point on what Angela brought up. There's numerous ways that you're act or access. What I would suggest is be very cautious of relaying any of that information over the phone. When your bank, you get a notification from your bank that your card has been compromised, you should attend your branch. Don't give any information back to them over the phone unless you're absolutely confident that you're actually talking to your bank. Because that's one of the scams that they do. Your account's been compromised. In order to protect you, please provide us with your information. Next thing you know, your account really has been compromised. So be very careful.
That's actually just so thinking, because I went through the whole thing. They said they get hit 5 years. So even though they might have done something today and they don't do anything different, because it's common for them to come back a number of years later, try always the same numbers. People just set them back up.
There's also like going around where you might find some message saying that you have received an e-transfer. So yeah, I've received that before. My husband received one saying someone sent you an e-transfer, just click to accept. And they went into his account, took everything. So I learned after I received that text that if I don't know that person, I'm not expecting an e-transfer, not to accept that. But it is going around a lot just recently.
Fantastic. Are there any other concerns, community concerns that need to be brought forward? I want to say thank you for those that did bring us some information, and I have to say there's two things that really draw my attention, especially today. Like around so that everybody can hear not only the presentations being given, but also the concerns bringing forward. And ultimately, this is one of those formats where we do want you to relay personal experiences and some of the texts that you're receiving regarding these frauds and that. I also enjoy as each of you get the mic and you hear your voice, you're all startled by it, which is amazing. I'm karaoke all-star, so I'm all about it. Again, appreciate y'all coming today. This is where we're going to take a break, and it'll be for the members afterwards to deal with a few issues. But thank you very much for coming. We'll have safe going home, and we'll see you in another month.